Sorry if y'all have to hear my lawnmower car. Somebody asked me to do a video on racism and prejudice, and I wasn't gonna do it at first because I just felt like it would have been a stupid video because it's just kind of obvious. Really, I really hope my car is not too loud. You know, I think people personally get upset with me because I've made a couple videos about just different incidents that have happened, like with the whole riot thing going on in Maryland and stuff, the whole Trayvon Martin situation, just typical things that black people get upset over, or how these cops have just been treating black people lately, just arresting them and beating them and just pretty much mistreating them for no reason. I honestly can't even tell you what's going on in detail because I honestly don't care. I don't watch the news. I wouldn't even know unless somebody told me what's going on around this world. But I have never been the person to take racism personally. It never offended me. I just always thought it was just a heart problem. I always just thought it was dumb. I don't get upset over most things that black people do get upset with. And I will share my personal opinion since you wanted me to do a video on it. I think I used to believe that there's no such thing as race because technically there's only one race, and that would be the human race. We all came from the same two people, but the Bible does, show different clans and just different tribes and nations of people. So I guess in a sense, I guess you could say there's different races, maybe, that God, specifies. But when it comes to my personal opinion, when it comes to black people and they get offended by certain things like that, I do think racism exists in the sense that we are treated differently. Black people are treated differently than a white person would be treated, they are more superior. I think that's just kind of obvious stuff, like just stupid things like if you go to a store, they'll probably serve the white person first over you, or how people attribute certain characteristics or behavior to all black people. So yeah, I think racism exists in that aspect, but when it comes to those are just things you can't control. I mean, it's kind of like an invisible thing. I was actually watching this lady. She has this, it wasn't a seminar, it was some type of little counseling class that she did. I forgot what her name was. Her name was Elliot something, but I'll just put the link in the description box. I can't really explain to you what it was, but she pretty much was just saying how, racism is kind of, you can feel it and you experience it, but it's out of your control in the sense that it's just kind of like, it's a power that you can't see and it's invisible, but it's still kind of there. But when it comes to black people getting upset, I can understand you getting upset if you are being mistreated or you witness and experience that there's favoritism being shown to somebody else over you when really y'all are technically the same person. Nobody's better than the other. I can understand being upset in that sense, but I think black people get upset a little too much. Like I said, they may not like me for saying this. I'm not like most black people, but I think black people need to realize that to the degree that they get upset over stuff like this shows that they are identifying themselves with what people think about them. If I don't take the fact that I don't take racism or any of those things offensive, I don't take it personally. If somebody was to call me a nigger, I would not care. That has nothing to do with me. You calling me a name according to how you feel about me, how you think about me. I mean, that just shows the current paradigm that you're under. That has nothing to do with me. You don't even know me, so why would I get offended over that? Now, yeah, I would probably get upset and be offended if you mistreated me. It's not good to experience favoritism, and that really has nothing to do with race in itself. People experience favoritism every day, whether you're black, white, same race, it really doesn't matter. But when I see black people, personally, this is how I feel. When I see black people get upset over stuff like this, to the point where they want to have riots, or they have hatred in their hearts towards white people, I think it just shows that you have accepted the identity that they've tried to put on you because of how angry you get about it. I know that may sound like kind of like twisted, but I mean, it kind of does to me. That's honestly how I feel about that, because if somebody is going as far as to mistreat you, or they have like this certain opinion about you, I don't know, maybe they are racist or whatever, that's a heart problem. And you asked me, how does God feel about that? I didn't want to make a video because I feel like it was kind of obvious. Like, Jesus doesn't even really talk too much about race, really. He talks about the whole human race, as a whole. He talks about the sinful condition of our hearts and our flesh and our fallen nature, fallen sin nature. And racism stems from what most things stem from when it comes to humanity, which is just pride. Now, I think what people get caught up in, if people only recognize that fact alone, I think they'd be a lot better off instead of always getting offended over stupid stuff. But it's the details of that pride that people get themselves caught up in, which is just a trick of the enemy. It's a deception. It just keeps your heart, stimulated with nothing but fear, intimidation, and anger because of the details. And the details are, I don't think it has anything to do with your skin color. I think people attribute, like I said, certain behaviors, certain characteristics. Maybe there's just opposing ideologies that different groups may have, and that's why they don't like that particular group. It may not even always be your skin color, but because from history and just going down the line, it has always been attributed to that skin color. That's where the quote-unquote racism and prejudice comes from. But if you pay attention, it really doesn't have anything to do with the way you look. It could. Which, like I said, that's really stupid. I would not even really consider somebody educated if they really did not like somebody based on how they look. That's just dumb. I wouldn't even let that offend me. Like, that's really retarded. When you are prejudiced against someone, it's something you don't like about their character. It's something you don't like about the persons as a whole, as a group. It's not about skin color like you think. It's something that they contribute to you as an individual that they don't like, that makes you unworthy or not as privileged in their eyes as another group of people may be. That's how I see that. And when it comes to that, there's so many different ideologies that we have. Like cultures, for example, how Mexicans, Hispanics, then you have us. I don't even know what I would consider myself, like black people, but there's so many different cultures. We're just black people in different cultures, so or Jamaicans or whatever. Y'all all have y'all own little way of doing things. So I don't know how to say this. I think it's just the way that different people were brought up and the way you think that brings you to a place of opposition with another group of people. I don't necessarily think it's about your skin color. And like I already said, if it is about your skin color, that person is just stupid and ignorant. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't like you because you're blue. Yeah. Like, no, it would make more sense to say that you don't like me because you've experienced people who look like me and they have been a certain way to you and they've treated you a certain way, and that's why you don't like black people. It has nothing to do with me personally. And most of these people who are racist and prejudiced, they've been raised that way. That's why I said it's more so about like ideology and differences than it necessarily is about your skin color. It's something that they've heard about these kinds of people that make them not want to be around them, or they already kind of have it set up in their minds who's the lowest and who's worthy and who's the special people, according to stuff like that. So it's all about classes, social classes, and opposing just differences and mindsets and just culture. I don't think it's about skin color. Now, that's something that's never going to be changed because everybody's set in their ways. Everybody has their own. Everybody is very opinionated human beings. That's just a part of your sin nature. We're very opinionated people. So in a sense, everybody's prejudiced. They just don't know it. Subconsciously, everybody is prejudiced. But if you tell them that, no, I'm not prejudiced. No, I'm not, okay, well, Christians are kind of prejudiced against unbelievers. That's the truth. You don't agree with the way they do things. That's what prejudice means to me. Now, that may not mean that you hate them in your heart or that you want ill for them or anything, but you don't agree with their culture, because the Bible says that we are a subculture, being a part of the body of Christ. So we are our own culture. We are technically Jesus culture, the lost or not. It's only, if you want to talk about races, there's only two races here, which is Satan's children and then there's God's children. So technically we are prejudiced because of what we stand for and what the world stands for. We're not in agreement with that. We're told to not even fellowship with them. So to some degree, everybody is prejudiced against something. And you asked me, how does God feel about it? Regardless, I wouldn't get caught up in the details of racism and prejudice and something, because I feel like if I had to give it a definition in heart, I would just say it's just the Bible tells us not to always like find aught against people in your heart. When you always have like some type of transgression, or you feel like somebody has transgressed you in your heart for no reason at all, if you're angry with your brother without a reason, that is sin. And that's how most of us live. That's just our mindset. So honestly, regardless of what differences you may have with somebody, number one is carnal, because it has nothing to do with the Spirit of God. Especially if skin color is an issue. Like I said, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't think a Christian should be concerning themselves with events and just groups such as Black Lives Matter and, racism and prejudice, because it's just not the mind of Christ. It's very carnal to just see that. It's very shallow. It's a shallow perspective. Racism is stupid. It's stupid because at the core of all these things, not only is it pride, but it just all eventually stems back to the sin nature. People are this way. They have these kinds of hearts. They see other people like this because they don't know the love of God. You're not going to have the love of God towards another human being, which Jesus says is your neighbor. So if you're asking me, how does God feel about racism? Well, that's how he feels about that. He says, love your neighbor, love your enemy. He didn't say love your black neighbor, love your Mexican enemy. He wasn't specific, because technically he kind of sees us all as one race when it comes to the human race. But spiritually, yes, we are two different classes. We are two different races spiritually. But no, that's just the sin nature. What people should be worried about is believe the gospel. Let God work, his will in your heart. Let the word sanctify you. It's all about your current paradigm, how you see things, the way you feel, whatever divisiveness you may have in your heart, or prejudices you already have, because trust me, you do. You just don't think you do. What the Lord is going to do, he's going to cut that. He's going to cut that out of you. He's going to straighten all the stuff out in your heart. And he's going to perfect the mind of Christ in his heart and the way he sees people in you. I really don't. I just think racism and prejudice, not just the subject and topic about it. I just think all of it in essence is just a distraction from the enemy. It's all a deception. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world anybody could ever get caught up in. Because if you really look at the core of why you don't like somebody, it has nothing to do with their skin color. It's something about them. It's something you've experienced or something you've been taught. It always goes down to its characteristic. It always boils down to something like that as an individual. Because if you pay attention, people who are really prejudiced or racist, it's personal for them. They see a black man walk down the street, I can't stand that nigger, you stupid nigger, so it's personal. It's something there. It's not just, because you're a black person. There's black people who, I've heard people say, yeah, I'm prejudiced against niggers, but I don't dislike black people. So they're letting you know right there, it's not necessarily the color I don't like. It's something attributed to their behavior and their character, something I don't like about this particular group of people that I cannot stand. That's why I don't receive them. It's kind of rude how they say it, because they say I don't like niggers. So basically they're saying I don't like black people that act or talk a certain type of way, But these black people over here, they're cool. So that lets you know, I can honestly say I've noticed that there is a certain group of black people, and I'm black, I can say this. Any of us can say it, but the ratchet, what we would call ratchet people, they're just really thuggish and just don't really care. I don't even think that has anything to do with them. I can understand why people don't like black people because of people like that, but that's for any race. I can understand why any race would not like people like that. The same way we call people, quote unquote, white trash. They're dirty. They don't bathe themselves. Whatever they call rednecks. I don't even know what in essence a redneck is supposed to be. But white people who are just really trashy. They drink all day. They just cuss, So that's kind of like, that's the same as our ratchet, black people. So, that's why it all goes back to character. If you're really a wholesome person and, educated, everybody doesn't really, they're not as privileged to be as educated as some other people are. But it's all about how you carry yourself. And like I said, if you are a person who carries yourself well and you love yourself, you treat other people good, and they still don't like you, it's something wrong with that person. There's not something wrong with you. Now, do I get angry? Would I get angry if I heard somebody who is a different race or skin color, whatever the crap you want to call it, tell me, well, Brandy, I don't really like black people. I've been around them. I don't like the way they talk. I don't like the music they listen to. I don't like anything about them. I'd probably agree with them depending on what they describe to me that they did not like, because I probably don't like it myself. And a lot of black people don't like other black people because of things like that, which is why I said it's not about you being black. It's something about your character that is just obnoxious to people, that they don't want to affiliate with that particular group of people. It's not a racism issue. It's not a skin color issue. You may just be a crappy person. Your character is trash. Now, is it right that people still group us up with those kinds of people? No, it's not right, because just because you're black don't mean that you're like that, or that you behave the way that other person may behave, just because y'all may be the same race or whatever. But that's something that that person would have to work on. And that's something a lot of people, which is the majority of the world, they're not willing to do. People are set in their ways. And like I said, that's why I said stop getting caught up in the details. The fact is, people are wicked. Okay, they have sinful hearts. They don't have the blood of Jesus to cleanse it. So don't expect too much from them. People, they set their opinions and their beliefs based on what they've experienced, what they learned, what they've been taught about other people, and what they've experienced is most likely going to triumph over what they've been taught. If you've been in the presence of some black people and you just thought they were just trash, you didn't really care too much for them, I could see why you wouldn't want to spend any more time around black people. I'm driving around looking for this restaurant. I don't know where I'm going. I mean, I just think a lot of people, they waste their time getting upset over groups of people who, we would deem racist or prejudiced, or, that's how I would define a mindset. That can be changed. You're wasting your time getting upset over that, because really the only thing that can change a heart or somebody's perspective would be, I guess it could be shifted, through different experiences. Maybe they can get a chance to see everybody's not like that, but only Jesus can really cure something like that. I don't care what you think about me unless you give me reasonable evidence of why you don't like me. It'd have to be something about my character for you to tell me why you don't like me. Don't say it's because I'm black, or I've been around black girls like you and they have the attitude like you and I don't like none of you. Well, I'm not them. They're not Brandy. I have my own personal personality. There's nobody else like me. So if you don't like me, it has to be a reason about me or something about me that you don't like. You can't just group me up with another group of females. That's stupid. When it comes to jobs and stuff, or people showing like white superiority and stuff, yeah, I think it's here. It's obvious. I mean, anybody can see it. You will experience it as a black person. But the reason why I say black people identify themselves with the identity that white people put on them is because, first of all, even though this is spiritual, I feel like, whatever God has for me is for me. I'm not going to waste my time getting mad at a white person because they denied me a job or told me I wasn't good enough for something, when only God can dictate something like that. He's sovereign. You're just a vessel of dishonor. I mean, he could use a black person to tell me the same thing. Then stuff like that does not bother me. My destiny and my purpose and my potential and what I'm capable of has nothing to do with you, and you can't even put a label on me. You didn't create me. So it's very ignorant for people to get caught up. I see racism, black people and white people and any kind of race just getting mad over stuff like that. A whole class of just kindergartners. It's stupid to me. Humanity, in their sin nature, has nothing to do with their skin color, because they're just a man just like you. They're nothing but a bunch of raging lunatics, and they're wicked in heart. They don't have any power over you but the power that God gives them. So whatever is going on in your life, you need to question, what is your relationship with the Father? Because he lists his blessings and his curses in Deuteronomy. So if you really feel like the white man has so much power over your life like that, and it's the white man's fault, well, you're not giving God the credit that he deserves as being a sovereign Lord. You're saying, God, this white man has more power over my life than you do. I hate him. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to start a riot, or I'm going to not like them back, or I'm going to start a group, or I'm going to attend this event or this stupid, what are those things? The parades and stuff, black pride parades, whatever black people do. I mean, they may not even go that far. There's black women, they have it in them. It's embedded in them. They feel the same way a person who would attend a black pride parade does, but it'll come up in an argument with another black sister. You know how we feel about that. So you don't like the way that they show favoritism towards the white person or the Hispanic woman over you. So you're basically telling God, you don't have any power over my life. This white man does. The white man has the white man ain't got no power. He doesn't, okay? He's a man just like you. Yeah, he's a white man. That's it. Nobody can have any authority over this earth unless God gives it to them. And Daniel says that. So once again, You choose who you want to give power to. And the fact that you get upset over something stupid like that, just because you're treated more less than another race of people or group of people, shows that you have accepted the identity that they're trying to put on you. So you make yourself look even more dumb. I think if someone is truly a racist, it would probably upset them more if black people showed they didn't care at all what they thought about them. Put your faith and your trust in God, and whatever he has for you will be given to you. It will be fulfilled if you obey him and if you submit to him. It has nothing to do with how you look. Yeah, I think white superiority is a lot more vocal about it, a lot more obvious, but they're not the only people that look down on black people either. So, once again, the only way I would be upset over something like that is if I believed it. You show you believe what they say and what they think about you because you get upset over it. If you didn't believe those things about yourself, if you didn't believe that they are the ones that in fact have power to place you where they want you, you wouldn't care. People, I'm not going to say white people who think that way, because it's not just white people. People who do think that way, they're delusional. People, that's narcissistic behavior, actually. To believe in your mind that you are superior over another group of people. You're not superior. We've all fallen short of the glory of God. You're a sinner just like everybody else. There's absolutely nothing special about you. And you can't say that the money you have or the career that you have or the nice life that you've been given is proves that you're better than somebody else, because God can easily take those things away from you, which he has done that to several people, several different races of people. So that's absolutely nothing. People spend their whole life beefing with other races for no reason when you're really just upset over somebody else's personal beliefs and the way they think, when the way they think, their logic is completely flawed. You can't do anything about that. Stop personalizing how somebody else thinks and rationalizes things, and start to love yourself. Find out who you are. Give your life to the Lord Jesus Christ. Read the Bible, find out who you are, and stop dictating what belongs to you or what you're going to have in this life or your purpose here, or stop making it dependent on how somebody else thinks and feels about you, or a group of people, a class of elites who are not really elites. They're just like you. The problem is not race, it's not skin color, it's the way people think. It's the way people think that needs to be changed. You're never going to be able to change your skin color. All this skin bleaching stuff, it's insane to me. Like, you changed the way you looked because of somebody else's logic. That is stupid. So it's the logic that needs to be fixed. The people that you are accepting as above you or superior to you are idiots. I mean, it's true. The way some people think it's the dumbest thing. To think that you are superior, you're over somebody else because of the way they look. You make them your slave or you're their master. Something is seriously wrong with your logic. You are mentally handicapped. Why are you praising people like that? You may not praise them, through your mouth, but through your attitude. You getting angry and doing all these riots. You want to fight the white man back. You are praising him. You're giving him authority he really doesn't have. He has it in his mind because he's a narcissist, but he's delusional. So why do you care? He's psycho. It really is a very irrational mindset to have. I would not even entertain somebody like that who's a racist. They're not very smart if they are. The very essence of racism is stupid.